Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folari, and my guest this morning is Mr. Napoleon Otache. Mr. Otache is a lawyer. He's also president of Economic Reforms Advocate. So thank you very much for making time for us this morning. It's something of an it's a subject that every Nigerian is interested in. Whether they know how it actually works out in that regard, the NNPC and the national economy, so that we can evaluate exactly how well do you think that NNPCL is doing. So maybe my first question is, can you just give us an overview of NNPCL Limited, that is L for Limited, and the national economy, its role?
Good morning, viewers. My name is Barrister Napoleon Otache, a member of the Economic Reforms Advocate. Our mandate is to discuss issues, policies that affect the Nigerian economy. NNPCL.
NNPCL, the impact, the role. How well is it doing?
The role and how far the NNPCL as a company has fared so far, except one will be tempted to jump into conclusion. But if I am to, then it's too little, too less, below the expectation of Nigeria. The impact so far has been that of crisis.
Okay.
Litany of crisis, layers of crisis, from one crisis to another, We've never gotten it right.
Do you have
as far as our industry is concerned?
Do you have any idea as to why indeed you arrived at that conclusion?
The effects are obvious, and they are open for all of us to see. Starting from the non-functionality of our refineries, unending fuel queues, lack of transparency in the management of the industry, pricing issue, the phantom practice of subsidy,
fuel subsidy,
and a whole lot of issues. So those are the manifestations of what made me to arrive at that conclusion that the performance of the corporation as it was, now a company, is truly below the expectation of Nigerians.
You know, just sort of taking baby steps at this. People were thinking, first of all, we know we have about 4 of our refineries before Dangote's refinery. They're said to be in a hapless state, not working. So what was NNPC doing? Why couldn't it get those ones up and running? And now that seems to be playing a role, because now that Dangote has come on stream, he's been at loggerheads. Either he's been at loggerheads with the NNPC or the NNPCL has been at loggerheads with him, but they don't seem to the ordinary person to be the best of cooperating partners.
Yes. Let me start with the question of why are our refineries not working? That poser may not have any answer in the next 2 decades.
Why are refineries before Dangote are
comatose? In spite of billions of naira budgeted for what they refer to as turnaround maintenance. We never got to see the effect of those turnaround maintenance. Nigeria still remains the only oil-producing country that is not refining its products locally. Only in the world. Some countries that don't even have petroleum deposits still have functional refineries. Yet, we are among the largest crude producing nations on earth. But we don't have the capacity, we don't have the facility to refine the products locally. Yet, we have a body, we have a company, a corporation charged with that task.
And has not been able to.
And he has not been able to find a solution to that national embarrassment. The question of the non-functionality of Nigerian refineries are as old as the issues with ASU. They are the two twin national devils. The day we tackle those two issues, then we cannot say we are taking the right steps.
Okay. Now, as you know, crude, petroleum, it's a great contributor, in fact, an overly significant contributor to revenues, national revenues. And you would have thought that with the arrival of the Dangote Refinery, we'd get some sort of a relief. But most Nigerians, even though there's an ongoing conversation as to what exactly is going on and how it would appear that the NNPC is trying to save Nigeria from, monopolistic, being a victim of monopolistic tendencies, it still isn't clear to most people why they are at loggerheads. Before coming on stream, it was celebrated around the world that we have the largest refinery in. Is it not? Is it in the world or in
the
Africa?
world, a single refining facility.
So all of this, it was in their presence that all of the groundbreaking and all of that worked. But now, I don't know. Do you know what exactly is going on where Dangote doesn't have joy? Dangote is being accused of being wanting to be a monopoly, asking that all our needs should be bought from him, because all of these have a tie back to the national economy. Give me your own understanding in a way where the ordinary person will understand it.
This discourse is very interesting, as embarrassing as it is. Dangote, ordinarily, that should be celebrated as a national hero, is rather than being vilified by those that are supposed to have accorded him the honor. Can we rightly say that it is Dangote that's responsible to the non-performance of our refineries?
As an individual, no.
The answer is no. When was Dangote Refinery built? When did it commence operation? Less than 2 months. So for the past 20 years or thereabout, were our 4 refineries performing even up to 50%? The answer is no. Did Dangote contribute to those refineries not functioning? The answer is still no. Coming of Dangote on board, to me, is more of a face saving. Being the richest black man on earth, and then his country is in this embarrassing situation. He had to take a bold step to do that which he had done by building the largest single refining facility in Nigeria. Because it has shown that the country and those at their firms or the oil industry lack the capacity to do so. The crisis we are witnessing is far from the national interest. To me, it appears to be more of a clash of personal interest. Perhaps the operations of Dangote refineries may likely affect the personal interest of the powers that be. Powers that be, those who are benefiting from the non-functionalities of our refineries over the decades. Their interests are going to be affected by Dangote refineries coming on board. So they are kicking, and they are kicking very hard.
It seems, perhaps it might be overly simplistic, but a lot of people thought that Dangote is a Nigerian.
Yes.
His refinery is a Nigerian refinery.
Yes.
We know the problems we've had with importing fuel and all of that. So once we have it, and then President Tinubu also added that, you know what, the squabble that's going on, okay, let crude be sold to him in Naira. And so we escape a lot of those hassles. But what we have heard in terms of pricing from NNPC, it's just as if he were a foreigner, as if the whole as if the whole thing was a foreigner. We're still hearing about 990 naira
as a landing cost.
At landing
from where to where.
This is why most Nigerians are confused and begin to look at this whole question of the input into the national economy through NNPCL. Meanwhile, NNPCL has always said that we're not going to sit by here and allow any monopoly to take undue advantage.
May I respond to this issue of monopoly that they bandied about? Has Dangote ever stopped any private entity from building a refinery in Nigeria? The answer is no.
Not from building, but now he seems to be requesting, and I think I should emphasize the word seems. He seems to be requesting that NNPC and whoever else is concerned, you should see the way to getting everybody who needs the product in Nigeria to come to him. After all, Nigeria itself has a 20% stake in the whole Dangote refinery business. So explain to me what
should Dangote be lobby before Nigerians ordinarily? If Dangote is selling a product and then a foreigner is selling the same product, naturally and ordinarily, as Nigerians, who do we think we should even be encouraged to patronize? We should patronize one of us. So should Dangote should be laboring, begging?
You see, this is where we're going.
Before Nigerians patronize him?
Your question is rhetorical in the sense that it's a no-brainer. Of course, it should be Nigerians. But what is going on now is anything but that. And where is that difficulty?
The difficulty why issues as simple as this, we couldn't bypass it, is because of personal interest. Those who are profiting from importation will do all within their powers to make sure the refinery is crippled, so that it will be business as usual. Because coming on board of the Dangote Refinery will make Nigeria to ask some questions, such as, how much is even the cost of building a refinery? 2, how long does it take to build a refinery? 3, what are the benefits associated with a refinery locally as against importation? 4, rather, what are the effects of local refining on the economy as against this practice of importation? So, coming on board of Dangote Refinery will throw up those national questions. And fingers will be pointed at the right directions. Those cabals who must be mentioned in an attempt to providing answers to those questions. They won't be happy. They are the ones kicking, sir.
If they are the ones kicking...
And they are kicking very hard.
But they can't be kicking effectively.
To the extent that the president has to intervene, as embarrassed in that.
Indeed, indeed.
The president has to intervene that, oh, please, sell crude to Dangote. Why should that be that state of affairs that would warrant the president of a country?
What is going on? Do you think it is the fact, this state of affairs, is it due to the management caliber in NNPC? Because only recently, scores of youth stormed the headquarters of the NNPC, and this is Monday, and I'm looking at it here, demanding the immediate resignation of the group chief executive. These protests were led by civil society organizations. Going as far as that, it seems that people have the idea that, you know, the management here, maybe we can benefit from examining it properly and then taking a decision. Because if these demands are coming from protesters, and we're talking about, you yourself have just said now that, you know, it's doubtful what is going on in the NNPC as it relates to, I mean, we're buying fuel now at over 1,000 naira.
In some states, it's close to 2,000.
And this looks like a fairy tale. It looked like being exaggerating. It looked hyperbolic.
Yes.
At one time, not too long ago.
It's unimaginable.
Unimaginable.
2 years
really.
ago, if anybody had predicted
And now,
on the pulpit that
yes,
this year you were going to buy fuel
they'll say he's
close
a fake.
to 2,000,
They'll say he's
you will
fake.
stone him
Yes, that
as
is
a
fake.
prophet of doom.
But now, because of what we are hearing, that let market forces, you know, let them reign supreme. See the situation we find ourselves in. So what's the way out of this?
Yeah, just like you rightly noted, not protesters, Nigerians actually have been demanding for resignation,
A change in the leadership
of the leadership of the company, NNPCL. Because it has shown that the capacity is no longer there. For a point where the president had to intervene before crude could even be sold to one of its nationals. That enough is a show of incompetence. The ordinary in other climes, the leadership should have on their own willingly tabled their resignation. But because we are in different climes where people hold on to position as a matter of life and death.
But everybody holds his position, especially in the public service, at the pleasure of the president.
Or the president.
You know?
So, Mele Kolo Kyari, the leader, the group executive director of the NNP.
Chief Executive Officer.
Yes. Should take a lead by throwing the towel. He has been in the corridors of oil business, NNPCL, as far back as 1991. If we had not gotten it right with oil industry, the best person to point our accusing finger on is Mele Kyari. He has been there.
You don't think that's a bit harsh? Because
He's never
these are companies. It's a company. It's effectively a company, and it has to be run by, you know, executives, and in this case, the chief executive. So I'm just asking for supporting evidence for the position you are adopting, that you don't need to look too far for the problems that we are facing in Nigeria. Look to the leadership of the NNPCL. And if there was a change in the general disposition there, whatever that disposition is, the oil industry is notably opaque as an industry. You don't really know what's going on. I don't think anybody can tell us how many barrels we're actually extracting, what is the value that we are making. These things seem to be understood across the nations to be national secrets.
We are already answering the questions. So who should make Nigerians know the number of barrels?
Isn't it policy?
Isn't policy is on paper. It's civil servant that drives the policies and implements them. So if the civil servants or the public servant, as the case may be, fails to implement the policy, then they should be held to account for them, for their failure.
Okay. Now, where
to the extent that we don't even know how much of crude is lifted out of the shores of Nigeria.
We don't.
That alone is an indictment.
But that has always
and
been...
for
that,
somebody that is not a newcomer, for somebody that has been within the corridors of NNPC,
yes,
as it was,
yes,
as far back as 1991,
yes,
a child of 1991 today is a mother.
Indeed. I hear what you're saying.
That is what it is.
But even from before the arrival of Mele Kyari,
yes,
this has held true, and not just in Nigeria, where people are they're being secretive about these crucial facts. So you will never, you people deal with facts, statisticians, policy analysts, and they need to deal with facts and figures. But I don't think very many people can say that they have the facts and figures to make an intelligent diagnosis of, quite frankly, the economic mess that we're in.
The oil and gas business in Nigeria is shrouded in utmost secrecy.
Not to say mystery.
So the secrecy is as deep as knowing the content of Coca-Cola.
And that,
as deep as that.
And you think it's a self-serving secrecy?
These are imposed by the leadership.
Because without them,
to the extent that even our lawmakers cannot beat their chest to say, this is what NNPC has earned from so and so. They cannot.
Well, if indeed, for the moment, as we're just sitting across each other,
yes.
If that is the case, it can't go on forever, especially when you look at the mantra of the Tinubu administration,
yes.
you know,
renewed hope.
Renewed hope.
Yes.
And so I was just going back to that point that before Mele Kyari came, this was the way it was, and then to be further a bit fair, yeah. It's not an exclusively Nigerian thing, where such a crucial resource, details of it are being hidden. Now, I don't know who it is being hidden from. I don't know if this whole idea, if you go back to Obasanjo's time, and now we have Tinubu, I don't know if those presidents also know this, or secrets are kept from presidents themselves. Can the presidents not demand to know?
The presidents can demand to know, because whoever is appointed is there at the mercy of the president.
The pleasure of the president.
At the pleasure of the president of the country, being the leader of the country. But it does appear, yes, you and I know that this has been the business as usual. The head of the NNPCL, we are talking today, has been there and was inherited by this administration. But should we rather continue in this error? The answer is no. No matter how far you have made a mistake, the best solution is not to continue in making the mistake. The best solution is to ask yourself on how to find the path of honor and to retrace your steps. Finding or retracing the steps would naturally mean the leadership has to be overhauled. Because if we continue, it will be business as usual from administrations to administration. And then the only thing we could point out, oh, this is how it was. And this is how it is now. So now that we have a brand new president, it's a powerful cashing policy of renewed hope. Hope encompasses everything positive, everything good, all manner of lofty innovations, part of which should be that the company, NNPCL, be repositioned so that it can benefit the Nigerian economy and also benefit the citizens. The way it is, we are rather spending money on the company. At a point, they even declared zero profit.
Not to mention the fact that they also are owing billions to, global.
They are owing billions to importers.
Trillions, not billions, trillions.
So if NNPCL were to be my private company, would I have still kept Mele Kyari as its manager up to this moment? The answer is no.
Okay, let's take a break.
The answer is obviously no.
Okay, let's take a break at this point. We'll be right back with this conversation, and we'll also open the phones in case we can get opinions from there.